Hello, everyone. Oh, man. Yeah, so been having this thing come in today, and I figure I'll share. Has to do with a video I watched last night from a Facebook friend of mine who I normally follow and really enjoy the channeling that he does. It was interesting. I came downstairs and I told Alex, I'm like, I don't know what is going on here, but none of this is resonating with me at all. And I was trying to figure, in fact, like opposite of what I know to be true. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? It's like funny when somebody that you typically listen to and resonate with, everything's cool, right? And I'm one of these people, I typically, I'm not going to say anything on his feed. If it doesn't resonate, I'm just going to hop off. But I was perplexed. This guy was saying that there are no Arturians guiding people right now, which I know for a fact to not be true. And I was like, why would he? What is the benefit? Yeah, he said that the only starseeds that are here right now are Palladians and Syrians, and that the rest are all basically being duped by reptilians. And I'm like, interesting. Yeah, that's not my knowing. That's fine. But then it was interesting to have him make such strong statements. And then talk about the younger kids that are channeling and discrediting that whole thing and saying you have to have a certain amount of wisdom in order to channel. Anyway, it's just really interesting right now how I keep seeing people trying to... It's ego. And they're trying to make themselves, what is it called? Indispensable. So like saying, you need to come and see me because I've been doing this for however many years, a long time. And, the people that are just awakening right now, they're not, they don't know what they're doing. Or they're channeling something they don't know what they're channeling. Or, I am the best at doing entity removal. That's one that I've heard, and every time I hear it, I'm like, right on. The best according to whom? Because, and here's the thing, there's so many of us here that are here to help. And my flavor of helping might be different than somebody else's flavor, might be different than somebody else's flavor. Who am I to say that I'm better at anyone for any person? I'm not. You either resonate with me or you don't. It's that simple. Trixie. It's that simple. But for me to try to convince you, maybe I'm just horrible at sales. I already know that to be true. Because I'm like, shouldn't have to sell myself. Right? My energy introduces me long before I even start talking. But I'm definitely not going to put down anybody else outside of me. Like, by saying I'm the best at something, I'm saying that somebody else is not the best. I don't know. I say you resonate with me or you don't. And I don't need to try to convince you that because I've been doing something for this long that you should come and talk to me. You know if you should. That's all. Just interesting. That whole thing. And then this morning to find out that a Facebook friend of mine had messaged somebody, at least one somebody that I know of, messaged her privately and asked her if she wanted a reading based on my live last night that I did. And of course I told my girlfriend, like, I don't know her. I mean, she's my Facebook friend, but I can't recommend her. And she's like, well, I wasn't going to use her anyway, but I just thought you should know that she's doing that. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. Thank you. And so here I am going, wow, what an amazing energy exchange. I pulled her card, which I pull cards. That's what I do. But then to have my energy exchange like that, that doesn't feel good. That feels like there's no integrity there. And that doesn't sit well with me, and it never has, lack of integrity. I mean, really. And have there been times that I've not had integrity? Yes. Yes, there have been. That didn't sit with me either very well. Right? Some of us just hold ourselves to a pretty high standard. And in holding myself to a high standard, I also am like, ooh, I don't like that. I mean, you guys know this, I'm sure, but be very careful about who you have doing readings for you. And I've said this before, and it's so funny, because I do readings, and it's like, but it's the truth. You don't want to see somebody who tells you to keep coming back. I mean, you can keep coming back, but I know that my goal is to get you more self-sufficient. My goal is to get you to be trusting your own intuition. My goal is to get you to tune into your own inner guidance so that you don't need to see other people very often. That's like me. I very rarely see other people to get any tune-up kind of stuff done or to even have readings. There are certain people that I go to see, and it's not very often. It's not very often. And usually, like my bodywork friend, my shaman friend, I mean, when I go see him, usually there's a reason. Usually I got stuck with something. I got an entity or something that I haven't been able to get rid of myself. And even if I don't know that, I know that. It comes in really strong, like, oh, yeah, call him. Oh, it's funny. It's funny how that works. But yeah, interesting. Interesting days, interesting times right now. So just tune into yourself as best you can. Try to do some psychic development. Like I was telling people on the lives, I mean, the other night, is just try feeling into what you think is going to happen. Pull some cards. Try to feel into what you think is going to come out first. Yeah, energy's shifting really, really a lot right now. Oh, yeah, the other thing. So, the other thing I just wanted to share, I know I had seen a couple people talking about, spring has sprung, now's not the time to do shadow work. And I just was like, wow, okay, that's not what's coming in for me. What's coming in for me is that now is the time, as all of the shoots are coming up through the ground to spread out. Now is the time. Oh yeah, full body chills. Now is the time. As we come out of winter and come into spring, this is the time. This is the time to do that shadow work. And I will challenge those in a playful way that say not to do it and ask if you really ever have done it. Seems very bypassy to ever say that, actually. And as somebody who has, I've been doing shadow work for all winter. I mean, I've told you guys. So what that means for me is that I dive into it for a while, and then I take a break, and it has turned into almost a rhythm for me of the amount of time it takes to integrate, and then something else. I'm led to do some more. Okay, well then I'm led. It starts coming up, honestly. And that's what I'm saying. It's coming up for a lot of us right now. If you're feeling that, don't be like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing shadow work. Push it down. Don't push it down. Let it come up and take a good hard look at yourself and accept yourself. The only real issue that any of us have is that we stopped accepting ourselves. We stopped loving every aspect of ourselves. That is the only issue that we have. And in the stopping of the loving ourselves and the stopping of the accepting ourselves, we developed really messed up coping mechanisms. And so now, as we come back around to this accepting of ourselves, we have to get rid of these maladaptive coping mechanisms that are not serving our best and highest good. We need to get rid of them. For a lot of people, that's smoking. For a lot of people, that's eating, like emotional eating to fill a void. It is drinking, or any kind of substance abuse. I'm trying to think what else. Anger. Like, oh wow, that's interesting. I just saw this picture of like rushing in like a wave of the anger, and that's a rush. Trying to overpower. It's control. So as we sit with all of this, it's all good. We just need to look at the aspects of ourselves. Like I tell my boys, it's like we have both sides of the spectrum. And I'm going to use my son Alex, poor guy. I always do. So like him, he's got a fantastic work ethic. And he developed it because growing up on an IEP, he always had to like work twice as hard as anybody else in his class to get his work done. So he's developed it. But what also he has is this lazy aspect. So he actually embodies both. And I'm like, so, like right now with the schoolwork, and he's a senior and he's getting senioritis. He wants to be done. And I'm like, look at you embody both. You need to channel this one right now. Not saying that the lazy aspect is bad. Sometimes we are called to lay low and not busy ourselves. Sometimes that is perfectly fine. But right now, you need to bust your ass and get your stuff done. And so that is requiring the work ethic hat. So there's an example of what I'm talking about. There's nothing wrong with either one except for there is a time and a place for each one. And it is this sense of, I'm not going to judge that. I have it too. I have both. And that's what I told him. I'm like, I'm the same in that respect. It's about knowing which aspect you need to tap into at what time. That's all. Don't judge or push the other one away or make it unbalanced. It's all about being balanced, and not even necessarily in the sense of being balanced, about knowing which one to tap into when you need it. Anyway, so there's that. That's coming in. And that's about it. Just getting my stuff done. Lots of chores, lots of spring cleaning type of stuff happening around here for me. So that's what I'm up to. Anyway, just wanted to share a little bit of those things that have been coming in. Most important thing for you to do is to truth test for yourself. Right? Is this true for me? Does this resonate with me? Don't take what anybody says outside of you as gospel. And that is what we are doing. We are empowering ourselves now